All right, welcome back to episode 3.141 of the barrel boat build. Still working on the model. I'm going to put the straps that hold the barrels to the boat on today. Put the metal brackets that will hold all the framing together. And then get started putting the flotation part together that will help just for the model part. It's not going to be on the actual boat, but the flotation to make the... If you watched the last one, you saw how it kind of floated pretty low in the water. So my first step is to make the little brackets that will hold the barrels onto the frame. I'm going to actually make those out of other barrels. So I'm going to cut the barrels up into 3 strips. And then use those strips of barrels to attach the barrels to the framing. And I will also use some metal strips, like that plumber's tape, I guess they call it, the stuff that holds the pipes to the rafters. I'm going to use that probably along with this spring on each end of each barrel to hold it on there real good. And then I'll put these plastic barrel strips around it also, which will give it that cool blue and white striped look, which you need. I mean, what's the point of having a barrel boat if you don't have cool blue and white striped effect on the barrels? And I used a heat gun to kind of heat these little strips up. First I measured them to get them proportionally sized for what it would actually be on a barrel. I actually made 6 of them because I kept thinking in my head, oh, I'm going to need 6 of these because I'm going to have 4 barrels on it. I'm going to need the three gaps between the barrels I'm going to have on each side, so I'll need 6 of them. But on the model, I only have 3 barrels on each side, so I only need 2 strips. So I made 2 extras. And those 2 that kind of got jacked up a little bit, I just didn't use those 2. I used those first 4. Those last 2, I didn't use them. I still hadn't realized that I only needed 4 until I started putting it together. I guess that's what happens when you start getting pretty old. Start forgetting stuff. And then I decided while I'm waiting for that to cool off, that heat gun gets that stuff super hot. I didn't want to touch those metal brackets, those little metal clippies. So I started laying out the helm. I figured, like, on the model, how big is the helm going to be? It's got to be able to fit from there, and I measured that. It goes about out to the middle, so it's perfect. So that's the size from the center to the edge of the handles. I drew that circle, and then I'm going to draw in the rest of it. I drew a couple extra circles, and I had to figure out to lay out where the handles are going to be. And of course, any time I have a circular thing, my brain always goes to, I gotta have a Stargate, and I got that in my head. If I'm drawing a Stargate, I do 40-degree angles between the points, between the chevrons. So I'll do 40-degree angles between the handles. I'll end up with my 9 handles, and then I'll probably actually draw or carve in or paint a Stargate on there, because you hardly ever see a barrel boat with a Stargate shaped helm. And I've probably only seen 70 or 80 of those in the last week. So I'll be number 81 of people that have those Stargate helms on their barrel boats. And I just finalized drawing it out a little bit. I didn't draw the Stargate on the picture, but that'll probably be one of the last things I make on the actual boat. I'm just doing it now because I'm waiting for those strips to cool off. So I decided to cut it out and see, like, what's the size gonna be, how's that size gonna work, and then I can just have an idea. And I got my little paper me to try that out with it and see if that is gonna look good, if I'll still be able to see over it and stuff. It looks pretty good. I think I'll like having that big old helm on there. I feel like I'm driving a pirate ship around. It's kind of a good feeling. Not that I know that feeling, but I can imagine that would be a good feeling. So my next step, lay out the spacing between the barrels. Each one of those barrels is 2 3/4 inches based on the 1 to 12.4 scale. So I laid out where the gap between the barrels would be, and then I laid out to center those straps between the gaps, and it worked out nicely. I'll have to think about that when I'm making the actual boat. I like to make sure that that doesn't end up in the middle of one of those framing boards that I have going across, those cross pieces in the middle. And I also actually made mechanical fasteners on that too, instead of just glue, because this model, the glue kind of holds alright, but if it's going to be in the water and I'm going to use it a lot, that glue won't hold really well. So I made some mechanical fasteners on the actual boat. They'll be stainless steel screws with washers on this. I just drilled some holes and made some copper wire fasteners. So I'll let you guys watch that for a minute, and I'll come back when I start putting together the flotation model boat part. Okay, that's all the work I'm going to do on the actual model boat. Next step is just the flotation part for the actual like little model to get it to drive around. But the actual boat part, that's all the work that's going to be on the real boat. So I started planning out like how am I going to get this extra flotation. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I came up with a pretty good plan. Hopefully we'll see by the next time. I got it started now, and it's got to have to dry over a week, and then I'll pull it off and see if I can shape it up just right for the next video. So I started by making a little dam around the black part that opens up to put the battery in. So I'm making a dam around that part so it doesn't fill up with the foam. And I'm gonna put some cellophane over or some cellophane, is that what that is? That little plastic wrap, I guess? The food wrap? I think that's called cellophane. But I put that over the boat to keep the foam from sticking to it. But it should form nicely in between all the little framing and in between all the little cracks between the barrels, so it'll kind of snap in there, and the foam will have enough play that it will like snap in there tightly, and I'll be able to pop it out when I'm not using it. So that's the thought, and we'll see how that works in reality next week when I pull that thing out, because it's drying right now, and it's taking a while to dry because the outer edge of that foam dries and gets nice and hard, and then the inside doesn't have any contact with the oxygen, so it takes a while. And I used the non-expanding foam, so it was like I didn't want it to expand and like push out all over the place, move the boat around, but it still expands like a little bit. So when I had it sitting there drying, the foam started like pushing away from the boat, so now I got a rope tied around the foam, holding it onto the boat while it dries in place. And then I'll shape it up next week. So it looks real messy when I put it on there now. It looks super sloppy, but next week I'll get it all cleaned up. And it's pretty fun to watch that foam stuff. I mean, it's kind of cool process. But that was my plan. I couldn't think of anything else. I thought the foam was a great plan though. So you'll get to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this cellophane on it so the foam doesn't stick, and put the boat in place, and then spray that foam in there. And then I will talk to you guys again next week. But enjoy the foam process. I think it's kind of satisfying to watch that stuff spray out. Alright? Bye-bye.